Here we go. Diary of a Professor, Journal Entry 2. Let's get into it. Okay, so I walked into my Music Appreciation College course today, and I tried something new and different. Not completely new and different, but basically I just did a few twists and turns on some activities and assignments that I normally do in the class. So I started like this. In our previous class, we were kind of already at the end of something, where basically in the class before last week, the whole lecture was based on musical texture and music. And in that particular lecture, I read through my lecture notes. You know, I have basically, it's bullet points. It's 6 pages with the bullet points and some stories and some audio samples, examples to, of course, play and talk about, and then activities in the class. So not just reading from the lectern, about, word for word, line for line. Obviously, there's some organic flow to it, but basically my notes. It's my notes, and I've got everything, nice and organized and ready to go. So in today's class, we just had a few more pages. We had basically page 5 and 6 to go through. And on page 5 and 6, basically putting the third period on the paragraph 2, musical texture or texture in music. We were on what's called polyphonic texture or polyphony, which is 2 or more melodies at the same time, but obviously there's a little more to it than that. So I'll kind of explain, kind of how that works in, today's journal entry 2 and really delve into that a little bit. Now, polyphony or polyphonic music, obviously there's a whole lot going on, and with these 2 melodies. But I think when we talk about the word and like what does it mean and how do we get to that, I think when you listen to this, to the song I'm going to talk about, or different samples or examples, kind of just pops out at you, in a pretty cool or rad kind of way. So while polyphony is busy and there's going to be imitation, you have 2 or more melodies that can basically, they can overlap, and we have like a stretto, like an imitation where you've got a melody, and that melody is going to keep going throughout the piece, in something, I guess, in something like a fugue, which it's like, hey, what am I really talking about? When we talk about a fugue, say in the time of the Baroque period, or really a fugue in any time, but if we say, one of the pieces we listened to today was the Bach organ fugue in G minor. In the Bach organ fugue in G minor, you got this wicked, cool, awesome melody, kicks it off. It's really monophonic texture just for a little bit, and then the melody's going, and the melody gets to the end, and then the melody is, of course, going to keep going, moving around, but then you get that counter melody, or what we would call subject, counter subject, that kind of thing, and it gets really interesting with the layer of the melody here, and then in the organ fugue, the melody gets to the end, and then your counter melody comes in, but this one actually keeps going, giving it that overlap. But I mean, fugues can actually have the stretto or the imitation, where it's like the melody is happening, doing its thing, and then you'll have that interruption before it even finishes. But this one still keeps going. It's some really cool stuff. At any rate, I digress ever so slightly, but I promise I'll fill in all the gaps here and whatnot in terms of what is a fugue and polyphonic music. How do you make sense of it based on if we make it as simply as like monophonic melody alone, homophonic melody and chords, and polyphonic or polyphony, 2 or more melodies played at the same time, overlapping like that, or it could be clean cut, but this one's still going to keep going. So if we just kind of think about the music, really think of it from the music first to get to the understanding of the vocabulary, words, phrases, and the genre, style, or form of music, it kind of really is super, super, super helpful. So what I did is on my last couple pages of notes, finishing up, the course mini lecture for today on texture, I started talking about on, page 5, right at the tippy top of, polyphony and, basically what it's all about, what I've already kind of talked about here so far. And then I went straight to the music. Okay, so where do we go from here? Like, how do we make sense of all this? It's pretty simple. We all like movies, sitcoms, well, maybe the occasional commercial, jingle, or Super Bowl ads. Commercials are kind of cool. But look, in movies, constantly all the time, there's all these really cool, neat things happen in movies and video games and sitcoms. And so in class, one that I started using that's relatively new within the past few years is from the movie Pitch Perfect. I think it's Pitch Perfect 2. I don't have my notes in front of me. I would love to say everything is picture perfect memorized, but I believe it's Pitch Perfect 2. And we've got a really cool example. Well, I think it's cool. I hope so. A really cool example of polyphonic music. So what happens is in Pitch Perfect 2, there's a scene where Snoop Doggy Dogg is singing Winter Wonderland in the part of the movie. And it's a pretty funny sketch part of the movie that you can kind of look up. But Snoop Dogg is singing Winter Wonderland, and it's going great, but the producer's like, anybody got any ideas, and like what are we gonna do here, basically. And Anna Kendrick kind of chimes in, well, just have him do it the same way that he did it before, and then the guy's like, okay, let's do it the same way that you do. Okay, well, you get what okay. Do it the same way, basically. You can watch the clip to have a few laughs, but Snoop does it again, and then Anna Kendrick starts playing like a cool beat, got some cool beat rhythm thing going on her pad or drum pad, the electronic machine that she was jamming with. And then Anna Kendrick starts singing Here Comes Santa Claus. So what you end up having is Winter Wonderland and Here Comes Santa Claus, and they're overlapping. It's cool. So it's like in the movie, at the end of Snoop's first phrase, Winter Wonderland, you get like some really cool syncopated rhythm from Anna Kendrick on the electronic pads, drum thing, whatever it is, just a cool little, beat maker, cool thing. And then at the end of his phrase, after she does a little, drummy syncopated thing, then Anna Kendrick jumps in, and they're overlapping with those two songs, thereby giving it this polyphonic flow, two or more melodies at the same time, which creates that harmony. So you got these two different songs. One of them has to start. It's like you got to have antecedent before consequent, right? You got to have a starting point. That's the thing about the Bach organ fugue. It's like it has to, you got to kick it off before you can have, in a fugue we say, the melody in a fugue is a subject. Subject is a melody is a subject. Fugue, yeah, of course. I mean, all the different genre styles and forms of music are going to have like some, vocab words and maybe some different language things that are going to go along with that, and flow and style. Yeah. All that happens throughout, whether it's Middle Ages, Renaissance, Baroque, Classical, Romantic, and we keep going. Even if we look at, like Japanese taiko drumming, mariachi music, folklorico. We look at Indonesian gamelan. There's all kinds of things that go with all these different kinds of music. So what's the point there? What's the point here? It's that to learn about polyphonic music, it's not just about playing fugues, from, the late 1600s, early 1700s. Look at the Baroque period as, 1600 to 1750. J.S. Bach, or Johann Sebastian Bach, his stint is from 1685 to 1750. So it's not just like fugues that are like dense and cool and have, imitation and stretto and, clean cut melodies that'll end up overlapping when you get a counter melody or the counter subject, subject, counter subject. You can have this in pretty much anything. And so I wanted to show the students an example of something, maybe it's not super duper modern, but quite a bit more modern, a few hundred years. You're talking Pitch Perfect 2 with Snoop Dogg and Anna Kendrick. That's, you're talking like, Bach's fugues in the late Baroque versus like Pitch Perfect 2 with Snoop Dogg and Anna. Yeah, we're a few hundred years apart, obviously. So my hope is that would kind of be it would be a hit with the class, whether it be live, online, hybrid. It definitely was a hit, and it has been for a few years. So what I did is I just played, the scene in class, and then we talked about what was happening with those melodies and the drum beat rhythm thing and the machine she was using, and what Snoop was doing, and then when she came in with the song, like what that really is, to get him to recognize that it's not just like a the old music that can do that kind of stuff. It pretty much any kind of music, whether it's hip hop, rap, or country, or rock, or whatever. And so they liked it. It was pretty cool. They enjoyed it. I had a blast too. It was really fun. So and a lot of students, well, maybe not a lot, but quite a few students knew the movie or the song, and they knew the words to maybe Winter Wonderland, and some of them knew the words to Here Comes Santa Claus. A lot of people know the words, of course. So what I wanted to do after that was move on to another example of how students in a music appreciation course could just get a better understanding of the word polyphony, polyphonic through the music, to understand like that, that it's a lot easier to understand if you can just do it through musical samples or examples. So then, well, what's next? Well, you'd say, well, of course it's Bach, but not yet. We first have to talk about the song Blinded by the Light, originally written by Bruce Springsteen, and then Manfred Mann, Manfred Mann's Earth Band, they do their version of it. And it's pretty interesting. I think there's an argument right now on Blinded by the Light for Manfred Mann, not which one is more popular than Bruce Springsteen, because when you look it up, especially if you know it or even if you don't know it, Manfred Mann's version of Blinded by the Light, it's, as the kids would say, it's a banger. It hits. And probably some of Bruce's concerns were not that it became more popular than his, and now we just got darkness. Hey, maybe I should get some lights here. Hey, we lost some lights. I'll tell you what, here. This is, it's gonna make a little bit of noise. I'm in the car doing my professor journal. Hey, there we go. Hey, sorry about that. Hey, it's gonna make the video. Turn it on the car. You gotta see what's up. So look, I'll just move in a little bit, let the car run. I mean, we're here just kind of chilling. And so I think the big thing with the professor journal, diary entry, it just kind of sharing the day and thoughts, and hopes that, hey, maybe it helps somebody. It certainly helps me to kind of get the day, like, to talk about things, and hopefully somebody else can enjoy this or learn something from it, or just leave a comment and say hello. Or, hey man, turn off your car. Why'd you make that big old noise in your video? I'm gonna leave all this in. That's what's up. All right. Maybe one person watches this, maybe 20, 30. It's all good. I'm just having a good time. So with Blinded by the Light, let me get the other light on here. Sorry about that. Get some more light. So what I was saying that, for Bruce Springsteen, great song, killer, cool song. I'm not gonna, spoil all the cool thunder awesomeness about the song, but Bruce writes it, Bruce plays it, obviously performs it, records it. Manfred Mann does their version of it. It does become more popular than Bruce Springsteen's version. There is an issue with the lyrics where supposedly, you can look this on the internet, where Chris Thompson, or maybe it was Manfred Mann that chimed in, but Manfred Mann's the keyboard player. Chris Thompson at the time is a singer. Chris Slade is the drummer. I think we have, I believe Dave Flett, I don't have my notes, but Dave Flett, I think, was playing that wicked guitar solo, and Colin Patcherton, I think, bass at the time. Hey, if I missed something, hey, correct me in the comments. I'm shooting from the hip on, or just from here, as I'm just putting up an iPhone held up by a water bottle in a car, doing, diary of a professor, about the day. So at any rate, I think Bruce's big thing was there was an issue with one of the words in the lyrics that supposedly was a technology or issue in the studio. And so when you listen to the recording of it with Manfred Mann from the time, with the crew, versus say maybe the video where they're doing it live on like Burt Sugarman's Midnight Special, I think, something like that. Yeah, there's some differences. I'll let you dig into that. I didn't dwell on that in the class, because the focus was obviously polyphony, and like, well, what does that mean, and how can I understand polyphony or polyphonic music through something like Blinded by the Light? All right, so basically I play the beginning of the song in the class, and get that, Blinded by the Light, because some of them never even heard it. I mean, maybe none of them, I don't know. I didn't take a straw poll or anything like that, but played the song just where Chris Thompson's singing Blinded by the Light, get that going a little bit. And then I cut loose. I basically move forward. scrub through to where Dave Flett's playing that just wicked, amazing guitar solo. And I play through it for him, let him really listen, take it all in. Then Dave Flett finishes that guitar solo on "Blinded by the Light" by Manfred Mann's Earth Band. And you end up getting this really cool, amazing thing played by Manfred Mann on the keyboard. It's called chopsticks. And I'm like making a joke in class, hey, if you want to know what to Google, when you know what to Google, it's pretty amazing, it's pretty powerful. So if this chopsticks melody is new to you, you want to have that in your ears. Assessments, quizzes, essays, samples. Yeah, I mean, it's something that this is pretty important to know. And it's pretty ubiquitous. I mean, it's like everywhere, and anybody can learn it or play it, and it's fun and it's happy and it's cool. But at any rate, I don't recall if that was maybe Chris Slade's idea. It may have been. That's actually putting that in the song. I do know there was reservations about having chopsticks even in the song to begin with. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe the drummer, maybe Chris Slade kind of chimed in on that possibly, or one of the other members. But I want to say it might have been the drummer, like kind of hyping that idea of like, what are we gonna do? After the guitar solo, it's so amazing. Like, what are we gonna do? What about chopsticks there? I mean, heck. At any rate, whoever idea or credit, it's in there. And so, you get I played Blinded by the Light in the beginning, and then Dave Flett does the guitar thing. It's cool, throwing down on that guitar solo. You get Manfred Mann playing keyboards, playing chopsticks, and then something really cool is about to happen. Chris Thompson starts, after the guitar solo, connects to chopsticks on the keyboards, and then Chris Thompson is going to start singing the melody again, "Blinded by the Light." And then in the video, if you watch the Burt Sugarman Midnight Special, if I'm saying it right, I hope so, you can see the drummer moves the microphone like that, and then right before the drummer starts to sing, you see him like go up like that. It's pretty wicked awesome. This is, probably what I didn't finish earlier, but that some argue that particular video and maybe other live performances they did were just as good and honestly arguably better than what they recorded. I feel like that their musical flow of the Burt Sugarman video on YouTube, I feel like it's better than like my vinyl or CD or whatever. I don't know, there's just something really organic and fresh, and it's just so human. It's just amazing that what they did. So what you have is Chris Thompson singing the the main melody, the chorus, and then in the video it looks like the drummer's singing that counter chorus. Now we also see that when they pan the video, you can see that Manfred Mann is like joining in on the singing, but is Manfred Mann lip singing, or is he really singing along, or is it mixed down? Is the drummer mixed up? Who's doing it on the album? I'm not trying to give all the thunder away for everybody watching, but it is kind of fun to try to do this in the class, to try to see, is it really the drummer singing the counter chorus? Is Manfred Mann lip singing, or is he contributing? If we listen to the CD or the vinyl, like, can we figure all that stuff out? I mean, I kind of have to see it, But at any rate, the whole point is not figuring out some mystic puzzle. I mean, heck, you can look at the video and, of course, figure all these things out, or look at multiple videos if you had to, and look at the credits on CDs and records. This stuff's easy to figure out. My point was trying to get them to like watch the video and like basically what you're hearing versus what you're seeing, and try to see if you can kind of get all that to align. Basically, they did. It was pretty cool. It was pretty friggin' cool. So, where's the polyphony in "Blinded by the Light"? Well, guitar solo, Dave Flett, chopsticks, Manfred Mann, Chris Thompson, bring back, obviously back to the chorus, "Blinded by the Light." Drummer moved the mic, head up, start singing. It's like you got chorus and counter chorus. Chorus, Chris Thompson, counter chorus, Chris Slade, and Manfred Mann jumps in on one or the other, or contributing something there. You can see it on the video. Whether or not that's the same on the record, again, I'm not going to give it all away here, because the whole point was like, that's polyphony. You had two melodies at the same time in Manfred Mann's version of "Blinded by the Light." I mean, I think it's cool, but more importantly than what I think, what is important is what's actually happening in the music that is a fact. Like, it has this. So whether or not I like it or they like it or whoever, it's like we're looking at what's going on in the music, and you got them two melodies happening. So going from Snoop Dogg and Anna Kendrick, Pitch Perfect 2 to Blinded by the Light, maybe a stretch in some regard, and then somehow we end the class with Organ Fugue in G minor by J.S. Bach, or Johann Sebastian Bach. Trying to say that with braces here. And this is probably the coolest part, and maybe the part that I'm always cautious of, like, man, I could talk for hours about one of my favorite, musicians and artists of all time. I could talk for hours about Bach. I could do the same thing with Eminem, I know, it's wild, right? But, so, we get over to Bach. This is the way the Bach flow went. Now, we talked about earlier about the activities and assignments. In the first two audio samples examples with, Snoop Dogg and Anna Kendrick on Winter Wonderland and Here Comes Santa Claus, and then when I got to Blinded by the Light, it wasn't super participatory on those. What I was doing in the class was, getting them to actually just listen actively, watch the video, listen, pay attention to the music, rewind, hit a few parts, have some class discussion on what they heard, maybe what they heard, what they didn't hear, and then I'm chiming in on stuff. But when we got to the really active part, I guess this is the biggest twist and turn, is when we got to Organ Fugue in G minor, I did something different that I have never done before. Now, I planned it, of course, and it was fun, and after the class, they didn't want to leave. Maybe it was their favorite part. So while we're quite a ways in the video, I hope everybody makes it to the coolest part. Maybe I should put this at the beginning. Here's what happened. So I played the Organ Fugue in G minor by J.S. Bach, and all I did was just play the beginning where it's monophonic, melody alone, before it gets really busy with subject, counter subject, or the double melody that happens. I played it a few times, just that main melody, which I'm not going to sing. I'm a terrible singer. I'm not even going to try. So I played the main melody a few times from the very, very beginning just to get it in their ears, but I made sure to pause it before it got to that double melody or the counter subject there, and just so there was no confusion. Then after playing it, 3 times, just the opening melody from the Organ Fugue in G minor by Bach, then I said, okay, get out a piece of paper, first name, last name, MAUSI 1306, just put music appreciation, put your section, and your job is just to count how many times you hear the main melody. Now, I'm in a computer lab. We're not using the computers, at least we weren't for today anyway. I had them all turned around, facing me, taking notes, clipboard, the whole 9 yards for this class and the previous class. Just at least that was today's flow. We do some different flow depending on the room and whatnot, but I've talked about that in a previous video. But at any rate, we're in the computer lab. I'm playing the stuff. They're taking notes. They're all turned around. They're all engaged. They're all facing me. We're doing our thing. It's cool. It's wicked awesome. So I play it, and I tell them that since I've played it for you 3 times, you got an idea of like what you're actually listening for. Now the idea is to follow that melody that I've been playing for you. Follow it, because it's going to just keep going all the way to the end. Now, sometimes you may not hear the main melody, like there may be some other things going on, but when you hear the main melody, your job is to listen for that main melody. And then in the beginning, it starts here, and you get that main melody, it finishes, and then there's a melody just waiting to just take over. And so the melody finishes, and then the counter melody starts at that counter subject, but that main melody is going to keep going. And I don't mean it's going to keep going like a choo-choo train forever. There are moments where that main melody may take a breather, and there's some other things happening, whether it be transitions and episodic or episode type things. So that certainly can be the hard part in fugues. What I did was I know, kind of kindergartenish, but I didn't mean it that way. I just said, hey, I'm gonna just count with you for a few of them to kind of help you. So, and I did it rhythmically based. I mean, I know it. I know the piece, so I'm able to like actually hold up exactly where those changes are. So, I showed them right where 1 is as best I could, because you got to press play. Obviously, there's a little delay, but once I got to 2, it was like boom, and then 3, and then boom, and then 4, and then boom. So I was able to go right there, second, third. And what I was doing was I was showing them, when I held up fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4, is I was showing them, this is the first time you hear the main melody. The main melody is back again. The main subject or main melody is back for the third time. Oh, guess what? You're hearing it for a fourth time. And then I was like, whoa. I was out. Then I'm like, good luck. Keep counting. When you get done, write the number, circle it. Now, this isn't super participatory yet, but it's going to get, if you stay with me, it's going to get a lot cooler. So they finish. I'm like, all right, it's done. We listened to the whole thing. That was it. We did 3 times on the melody alone, then 1 time straight through. They wrote their number, brought their papers up, and I put a big old pile and I went through them to see how they did. And there was a lot of numbers, 7s and 12s and 8s and 9s and 10s. I have to tell you, pretty darn good actually, because I've gotten like 100s and 40s and 80s. I've gotten all kinds of stuff, which, you have to do exercises kind of leading into this so that you can get maybe them 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, and 12s, which none of those are really terrible answers. I guess some would say that, but I try not to, I don't want to be discouraging like that. It's hard to do that. They're not music majors, but they're there to learn how to actively listen to music of all walks of life. And that is really the crux or the heart of what I'm trying to get at here. So, they did a good job on that. So then the next thing that I did was I called up some people. I looked at the students that had either 8s or 9s, and I put them in 2 piles. I put the 8 piles here, and I put the 9 piles here. One of the answers correct, one of them is not. But the one that's not correct, it's pretty close. The one that is correct, well, it gets even more interesting in just a moment. So then the next step was I called up the 8 group, and I had them stand at the front of the class and do the whole, when you hear the main melody, do this. And it's like, you hate to say ignore like the counter subject in a fugue. And I didn't necessarily say that, but I did say focus on the main melody. Don't be distracted. Do your best to show the class exactly, aside from one, because you got to press play, show the class where you think, all of them are. And I was trying to see with the answer they put down on the page, does it match like what they're doing in front of the class? For some it did, for some it didn't, but I wanted to see if their answer changed. And it was interesting because a few of them did change their answer, but they could also prove it. Not that they necessarily have to prove it, but they were able to show me and the class, hey, what I wrote down, I missed one, and I was able to ask them, explain that or tell me why. Well, one of the hard ones to get in there is number 6. The 6th time you hear it. So I stopped at different points to say, hey, what number are we on? Or, can you tell, like, do you hear maybe a higher or lower or mid? I could say soprano, alto, tenor, bass, or something like, ranges, but it's, they're not all going to know, they're not going to know like lyric soprano, mezzo soprano, and bass and baritone. It's music appreciation. I do teach them those things, absolutely. But it's, for them, just for music appreciation, just trying to get them to thinking like, well, is it a higher voice? Is it a lower voice? Is it a mid voice? Can you tell, if you're watching the video, you can see like, with the organ, playing on, your lower keyboard or whatever, higher keyboards, organ has, layers of boards, keyboards, and, you've got the feet, foot pedals, you've got the notes and the feet, and such an awesome instrument, and J.S. Bach was just a organ virtuoso, just simply truly amazing. And so at any rate, as I went, continued in the class and went to work on all these, basically work on experiments with the students and active participation. And so at the heart of the matter really is trying to get them to count how many times they hear the main melody. So once I was done with, running the experiment with the students who selected the number 8, because I had the 8s in one pile and the 9s in another pile. Again, some of the 8s did change their mind, and they did a great job of like doing this. And, then me peppering questions on, stopping randomly, like, what number are we on? Or what number do you think people usually or might miss, and that kind of thing. So not too terribly difficult, but it really got them thinking, and they did a great job. So when I moved on to the next group, it was the 9 group. And so I brought all the students up and basically did the same thing at the front of the class. Everybody went to the front of the class. The all the students that selected 8 came up. A few students selected 8. 3 students said 8, and I had 3, 4 select 9. Just brought them up in 2 groups, and then had the 9 do the same thing. Listen to the whole song, and basically stop the song at random points, ask them what number we're on. I would stop the song at random points and actually go to the students that were sitting in the audience or the class side and ask them what number we're on, and do it real quietly and whisper, and then come back up and ask the players. So basically playing games with the students on asking them what number we're on by stopping randomly, and also asking the class that was sitting on the other side, kind of, obviously participating and really paying attention as the students in the front are trying to keep track of things while I'm stopping wherever, and then asking them questions. And so it was basically the same thing on that, on seeing, okay, did they change their number? Did they hear the same thing? Was it 8? Was it 9? What did they think? And they did really good. Most of them did pretty good. Not easy, but both the 8 and 9 groups did pretty good. Still didn't tell them the answer yet, though. Okay, so the last part of the class is the coolest. I brought the whole class. You're talking, 20 plus students, all to the front of the room, getting not in a big line, it's basically a big glob, arcish kind of sorta. Played the song again, and we played a game. I don't know if it, not necessarily like Heads Up, 7 Up, but it's basically where, aside from number 1, because you have to hit the start button, I played the song again, and I wanted to play a game with the rhythm of the song, as well as listening to see, could they get the changes, with the rhythm. And if they missed it, you're out. Okay, it's a new day and new shirt, but I really need to finish journal 2. So we finished up the class with working on Bach's organ fugue in G minor, and the goal was trying to follow the subject, counter subject, not be confused by that counter melody or counter subject, and follow the main melody throughout the whole piece, but trying to actually count, can you get those rhythmical entrances while, of course, keeping pace with the melody when it enters, and paying attention to that. So not just a rhythm thing, but just kind of following when the melody enters and getting as close as humanly possible to those entrances. And while, I'm doing the whole you're out kind of thing, it was really just, it was fun and games, engagement, active learning, active participation. I mean, it's fun for the teacher, fun for the students, learn about music from the Baroque period, but to have all different kinds of music in that lecture where, I'm talking about Blinded by the Light, Manfred Mann, we're spending some time on, Snoop Dogg and Anna Kendrick from Pitch Perfect 2 with Winter Wonderland, and Here Comes Santa Claus, and how that works with the polyphonic flow, dueling double melodies. It was a hit. Pitch Perfect 2 was a hit. Blinded by the Light, that was a hit with, guitar solo, chopsticks, the chorus happening, the counter chorus, chorus by the singer Chris Thompson, counter chorus by the drummer Chris Slade. They loved it. It was fun for everybody. So with active learning and really in participation, where having the students just really be involved in the learning and participating, where it's not just a teacher walking around the room watching students do assignment in your college course like the one I'm teaching, music appreciation. It's activities where there's different modalities, ways of doing it, the flow of the content, just having some mixed up variety and whatnot makes it fun for everybody, not just the students, but the teacher and the students. And there's just so much energy, and as the kids would say, there's some that was fire. So definitely a lot of fun. After that class, the students were like, man, this is the coolest class ever, the best class ever. Man, this is really cool. This was funny. This was fun. So a lot of happiness, a lot of fun was had. I don't know, maybe it was a little bit cool, but the whole goal was walking away from, this particular lecture where we're talking about, textures, musical textures, and specifically wrapping up with polyphonic textures and how to understand them, whether it be rock and roll, hip hop, rap, or whether it be, straight up classical music or music from, the Baroque period, like fugues, and just trying to have an understanding of how all this works. That polyphonic music, it's not just, music from the 1600s or 1700s or whatever. You know, really anything can be polyphonic. And so I think we all had a really good time. And so I think if you want your class to be fun and exciting, you got to keep trying new and different things. Obviously, as best we can, stay up to date and current with the times, but enjoy the content that you teach and share that joy and passion, you know, with the students. And, you know, just we gotta keep trucking, keep doing our thing. So I think that's a wrap for, you know, for Diary of a Professor journal entry to, you know, the journal entries, diary entries, they can be long, they can be super detailed. I'm good with that. I'm sure anybody that watches this is good with that if you make it this far to the end. I hope this helps somebody out there. The plan or the goal is like, I'd like to be encouraging, motivating, inspiring, but really, these journals are for me. So if somebody else enjoys them, I think it's amazing and awesome. But I guess that's all I have to say. You gotta, every voice counts, every voice matters, and find a way to get your creative juices flowing and sharing your thoughts and ideas, like, with the world, man. So, yeah, that's all I got.